Hi, we're going to go ahead and start 32. This chapter here is just complications of surgery and medical care. So let's just go start off here. The codes here are going to be in your T categories again. Just what I've talked about in the past, we're going to have the initial encounter A, subsequent, and sequela. There could be combination codes. So again, look for those. And again, 7 character values. Okay, so one thing to remember, not all conditions occurring after surgery or after other care are classified as complications. So code assignment a lot of times based on the provider's documentation, and this is going to be between the relationship of the condition and the care or procedures. Okay, so again, we're going to look at T codes. And just because you have a complication doesn't mean that it's inadequate or improper care. So keep in mind somebody who possibly hemorrhaged after surgery. Again, that is not, necessarily inadequate care. It's complication. So no time limit is developed for a complication. So we can do a complication at any time. It can occur during the hospital episode, after it, or possibly years later. And one thing to remember, if it does occur during that episode in which the operation or care was given, you are going to report it as an additional code. Okay, then if they are admitted because of that complication, it's going to become the principal diagnosis. Okay, so again, complications we have if they occur in a specified body site. They are in that chapter. We have T codes for that, multiple. All right, so let's get into a lot of times how do we look these up? So I'm just going to go, we're going to scoot down here. How do we locate them? Here's the tricky thing with complications. We can find them many different ways. We can find them under the word complication. A lot of times it's going to be complication mechanical. Here we have, for example, adhesions. And if I look under post-operative, okay, with obstruction, these would be all complication codes. Or a colostomy malfunction. I look right under the word colostomy, and that's where I'm going to get my complication code. So locating these, again, you're going to look as the nature of the complication. Could it be a puncture, accidental, a hemorrhage, type of procedural? Okay, and this is what I was talking about with general terms. We have mechanical, infection, or graft. You would look under these terms themselves. Right here it states it. So if I have a complication from cardiac device, infection, it's going to take me to these T codes. Okay, so we also have postoperative conditions that are not classified as complications. These would be a post-laminectomy syndrome occurs following a laminectomy. It is a sequela of the procedure, not a complication. Okay, so again, make sure you distinguish between the two of them. Postoperative pain, nausea, and vomiting. This can be a complication, but a lot of times this is just a general effect of the surgery itself. So again, pain is not routine, or postoperative pain is not expected immediately after surgery. So again, you kind of have to look to see what the doctor is stating, if it's specific or not, whether we're going to code those postoperative pain codes. Okay, aftercare, we can go in, they're admitted following same-day surgery for further management. Sometimes, again, if we're going to assign a Z code as principal diagnosis, when we don't have a specific condition identified. Postoperative anemia, this is rarely considered to be a complication. Keep in mind that pretty much everybody loses some blood after surgery or during surgery. The doctor really has to state postoperative anemia for you to utilize that code. Okay, same thing with hypertension. It needs to distinguish that way. I am just going to go down to here. Make sure you take time and go through these PowerPoints. I'm not going to read through each PowerPoint. I am just hitting on different things just to help you code. Okay, so we have circulatory, respiratory. Make sure you read through these. These complications affecting musculoskeletal. We have cardiac functional disturbances, therapeutic infusions. So I'm just trying to get, again, we have transfusion complications. So basically, to sum this up as I'm going through the slides here quite quickly, is to, again, when you're looking these up, how do I look these up? And the best part in your book, what I always tell students, is look at the different terms of looking them up. Like in your exercise 32.1, you know, when I look at postoperative fever, I'm going to look up fever and then look up postoperative. Number 3, we have a colostomy malfunction. I am going to look up malfunction and then colostomy. Okay, so keep that in mind. There's a lot of slides here, and to be quite honest, they come directly from the book. So in that note, the biggest thing here I think students suffer is to, or have the hardest time doing, is actually looking up the code itself. So is it a complication? You look up into complication. Mechanical, or you go right to the site itself. So with this chapter, again, like I said, and then I go to 32.3. I'm looking at some of this, and number 1 could be leakage of breast. I could probably look right under leakage. Number 4, you're probably going to look under complication. Number 5, again, do I look under displaced or do I go to complication? So again, you have to think outside of the box when looking these up. Let me know if you have any questions.